Hello, true believers, and welcome to another edition of BK's Bullets. My name is not Brent Kossina. My name is Jim Afanis, and from time to time, I take over this channel to talk to you guys about comic books, comic book related news, comic book related TV shows, and in this case, movies. Today, I specifically want to focus on Robert Pattinson's The Batman. So it came out the other day that Robert would not be working out in support of the Batman movie because, according to him, people in the 70s didn't work out. So he wants to be a more natural looking guy. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean he's going to be larger like I am, but he's definitely not going to be a complete bodybuilder physique like The Rock or Dave Bautista or some of these other action stars. He's going to kind of just be in the middle. And I have a lot of problems with this, only because I don't necessarily need Batman to be like Bane in terms of his physique. But what I do kind of expect is a guy who fights for a living should probably look like a guy who fights for a living. So a lot of those stars that you saw back in the 70s definitely weren't ripped. And he is right about that. But a lot of them also serve justice via a gun. I think that's one of the big distinctions. You think of like really famous movie stars back then, and you had, like, I think everyone can agree, watching Bullet, one of the greatest car chases pretty much ever, right? Like how cool that was. The star in that movie, Steve McQueen, he wasn't a ripped guy, but he really wasn't doing a lot of fighting, was he? He drove around a lot, had a gun, whatever. Even guys like John Wayne, that grit, True Grit, perfect example, that movie. He's a little pudgy kind of guy. He's not necessarily a rough and tough dude in terms of physique. He does a lot of talking and a lot of intimidating verbally, but when it comes down to it, he's a good shot. Batman, not using weapons really, other than his bat gadgets, I guess, does a lot of fighting. And if you watch UFC as much as I do, all of these guys are completely jacked. And it's not because they're sitting around doing weights every day. It's because as you keep punching and kicking things, your body is going to form in a certain way. So the fact that you're going to have a guy dressed like Batman wearing the protective suit that's going to be probably a rubber molded chest, as all of the other Batman movies are, I guess I can understand that part of it. You're not going to see that anyway. But, your facial tone, definitely your arms, definitely your traps, your thighs, your calves, that sort of thing. I feel like what you really are missing here is a guy who fights. And I feel like you're going to look at somebody who just looks like he has no idea what's going on. Now, understandably, if this is going to be one of the first Batman stories, where he is just starting off like day one on the job, I guess you could understand that. But unless they're taking a toll away from all the training that he did with Ra's al Ghul, not Raish, Ra's al Ghul, learning how to be the fighter that he ultimately becomes, it just seems a little odd to me that a guy who's just normal pudgy dude is going to suddenly go out and start fighting crime and it's going to be believable. So that really does worry me. And I feel like Batman, especially after reading all these books for Brent's channel, after reading like Batman Year One and some of these other stories that I've read, like early years Batman, or at least Batman who hasn't really kind of found his rhythm yet, or even go on the other end of the spectrum, even like The Dark Knight Returns, we have old ass Batman who's coming back, into the fray years after retirement. I feel like the mindset of Batman is he kind of knows what he's getting into. And when I hear an actor who's about to play, and maybe he's already started filming a lot, I don't know what percentage of filming is done, but when I hear an actor talk about, it's not that important to me, I feel like he's going in with the wrong headspace. And it really genuinely worries me about this movie, because I feel like if you're not going to take the idea seriously and really kind of envelop the thought of like what Batman is, a guy who's sticking his neck out there, who has no superhuman abilities, who's relying on his intellect and his fighting prowess to make a difference in a really dark world, and you're basically saying that you don't care about one aspect of that, It kind of worries me. So I'm sure I'm not the first person to come to this conclusion at all, but it's something that really just struck me as odd. And I felt like it was time to do a video for Brent's channel. So this is what I picked. I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments below. Let me know your thoughts on this. Am I overreacting? Do you care? Do you think the movie's going to be good or bad? It's hard to say. I mean, we don't know a lot. I've only seen some very limited screen tests of him wearing the cowl and that sort of thing. But when I hear stuff like this, man, it just puts a really, really bad taste in my mouth. Thank you guys so much for watching. Take care of yourselves. And until next time, I will see you guys in the funny pages.